What up, it's Brandon here and welcome back to the Tip Trick series, the series where I teach you a new trick. And today we're going to be learning how to roll on transition and ride ramps. A very important skill in rollerblading, even if you don't plan on skating much skate park. As always, we're going to start off with my recommendations. The first one being that you wear protective gear, at least a helmet. The second one being that you're already confident with everything else I've covered in this series so far. If you're unsure what that is, I'll link to the playlist in the corner. Just go through it all. If you're good at all of it, then you'll have no trouble picking this part up. The most important part of riding on any slope, ramp, or transition is the stance. And the stance is one I've talked about all through this series. It's the box stance. So just to go through that stance again, you want to be in a staggered position. You want to envision a box around you. You want to have a foot in each corner of that box. You want to have your knees bent. You want to be slightly leaning forward. You want to be braced for falling forward. Your weight should be evenly distributed between each foot. In that stance, it is pretty hard to fall over. If you try to roll down any ramp or slope with your feet next to each other, parallel, it's going to be a lot easier for you to tip forward or backwards and just lose it. So the stance is very important. So to start off, we're going to focus on learning how to ride on quarter pipes or half pipes. Once you master rolling these ramps, you'll be sweet at rolling on every other kind of slope or ramp there is. So the trick to riding ramps is using a technique I would call pumping. This is where you push into the ramp to maintain and build speed. Now, if I try and make myself not pump when I drop into a quarter or roll over any ramp, I find it impossible to do. It's just something I automatically do now. And if I do try to force myself to do it, it feels very unstable. So the sooner you learn how to pump, the more stable you'll be when you're skating. So how do we learn it? What I want you to do is go find a half pipe. If you can't find a half pipe, a quarter will work just as well, but having a half pipe will definitely be the best way to learn this. What I want you to do on this is just roll up it and roll back down it, and just do a backwards and forwards like that without turning. If you aren't confident at rolling backwards, you can skip to the next step here, but I highly recommend that you wait till you are really confident at skating backwards before learning this. So first up, just try rolling forwards and backwards. Make sure you're in the right stance, the box stance. Look over the correct shoulder. It should be the foot that's further back. That's very important. You don't want to be doing one of these. Once you've done a couple of them, try crouch as you come up the ramp and then push into it as you come back down. Feel out how that gives you a speed boost. You can also do it on the way back too. If you're rolling up the ramp backwards, do the same crouch as you go up, push into the ramp as you come back down. And just do that, go forwards and backwards, and you're essentially pumping already. The thing you're going to have to learn here that there isn't really a tip for is just balancing. You got to learn how much you got to move and balance every time you push. There's like a correlation there. You got to learn that. So that will just come with trial and error. If you do feel like you're going to fall, just remember to collapse and slide on the ramp. I would highly recommend skating a smooth half pipe or quarter pipe if that's possible. I know that isn't possible for a lot of people, even me. I don't think there's any smooth half pipes near me, and that's where pads will really help you out. So just remember to collapse. If anything feels wrong, just collapse and slide. Once you can maintain your speed going back and forth or even pick up speed, then congratulations, you've learned how to pump, but there's another step to learn, and that's to do it in a 180. Now this step I'm going to call the carve. What I want you to do is skate the half pipe in a circle shape. You don't want to come up and down the same path. You want to go up and around and come back down. And we're going to do the same thing here again. As you come up the ramp, you're going to crouch, and as you go back down, you're going to push your feet into it and lean forward and feel how that gives you more speed. You should be able to get in a nice rhythm of going round and round, building up more and more speed. And essentially there you're carving. But for this one, you can add another step where you can actually carve up the ramp as well. I want you to try as you come up the ramp to push your feet through the transition and then bring up to a crouch position. Now this is definitely a lot harder than the down part, but it's a really effective tool for getting more speed, and it helps for the straight up 180 pumping that you can do later on in the next step. Still the same thing though, you want to lean forward, you want to be in the box stance. Once you get that going, you should be able to really build up speed going around, and we can move on to the actual 180 pump. So for this step, instead of doing the circle, I want you to go up and down the same path on the ramp. And we're going to be doing the same thing here. I want you to roll up, pump into the ramp, and then as you come to pull your feet back in, 180 and come back down and push your feet back through the transition again. That's essentially it, you're doing the pump. It's still really important that you're in the correct stance, that box low stance with your knees bent. You want to be braced for falling forward. You want to be leaning forward because this whole thing, you should be facing forward. Once you can feel how you can gain speed doing that, then you've officially completely learned how to pump and how to ride a half pipe or transition. Now what you've learned up to this point is the hardest part about riding transition. So now I want you to take what you've learned to any ramp or slope you can find and see how it works the same way. If you have a little slope or bank, try push through it as you go down. You'll see how you can get speed and you'll be a lot more stable as you do it. Just always remember you need to bounce when you push through it. You can't just push your feet, you got to go with your feet as you push. Getting really good at pumping like this will really help you when it comes to learning how to drop in, which may be the next video, so subscribe for that. If you don't plan on ever going back to the skate park after this, these skills are very useful when it comes to just skating out in the wild anyway. You can do these same techniques through any slope or slight divot in the ground through the city or through your town. These skills will make you a much better city skater. You won't get tripped up by little slopes. You can actually use them to help you keep speed. And that's it for this tutorial. If you have any further questions, feel free to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Click the little eye in the corner to check out the rest of the series I've been working on here to help you fully master rollerblading, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Huge shout out to my patrons and members. I couldn't do this without these guys. And yeah, that's it. Peace out, guys.